Wall Street is a temple built on a lie. The lie is that the market is rational, that it can be understood through logic, balance sheets, and predictable economic models. But Leo Quant, a reclusive mathematics prodigy, knew the truth. He knew the market was not a machine. It was a beast, a wild, chaotic, and deeply emotional creature driven by the two most powerful forces in the universe: fear and greed. While the titans of finance worshipped at the altar of order, Leo was in his small, cluttered apartment, searching for the hidden mathematics of madness.
He wasn't a trader. He was a physicist of money. He spent years developing an algorithm he called the Mandelbrot engine. It ignored traditional financial data. Instead, it ingested a constant global stream of seemingly random information: social media sentiment, meteorological data, shipping lane traffic, even the aggregate emotional tone of news headlines. The algorithm's purpose was not to predict the market's direction, but to measure its chaos temperature. It searched for the tiny, almost invisible fractals of human behavior that always preceded a major, irrational market swing.
With his prototype complete, he secured a small seed investment from a single, forward-thinking venture capitalist. He launched his own small hedge fund, Quantum Leap Capital, from a tiny rented office. His first attempts to explain his methodology to the old guard of Wall Street were met with ridicule. In a meeting with a legendary old-school fund manager, the Titan looked at Leo's complex chaos diagrams, laughed, and told him, "Son, I've been doing this for 40 years. The market runs on fear and greed. You can't put fear and greed into a formula." Leo simply replied, "You're wrong. Fear and greed are a formula."
His initial trades were small, cautious, and moderately successful. But then his system was blindsided by a black swan event, a sudden, unpredictable geopolitical crisis that no algorithm, not even his, could have foreseen. The market convulsed in a way that defied all his models. In a single, brutal afternoon, his fund was almost completely wiped out. The old guard was triumphant. The charlatan with the chalkboard had been exposed. His investors panicked. The dream was over. He was a failure, another brilliant mind broken on the unforgiving rocks of market reality. The failure was a public crucifixion. His sole investor pulled out. His small office was shuttered. Leo was forced to sell his apartment, his powerful computers, everything. He moved into a tiny, single-room basement flat. His only possession, the transparent chalkboard covered in the equations of his broken dream. Wall Street had a short memory, but a long list of grudges. His name became a cautionary tale, a punchline in the bars where traders celebrated their victories. He was a ghost, a pariah, a man who had dared to claim he could map the soul of the market, only to be devoured by it. But even in his exile, he could not stop thinking. He took a menial job as a night shift data analyst for a grocery delivery service, a purgatory of spreadsheets and inventory numbers. He was surrounded by the most mundane data imaginable. But here, in the quiet hum of the servers, away from the noise of Wall Street, he began to see something new. He saw how a sudden rainy forecast in one part of the city would create a tiny, almost invisible spike in the demand for soup cans a day later. He saw how a minor celebrity's tweet about a certain brand of yogurt would create a ripple effect across the supply chain. He wasn't seeing chaos anymore. He was seeing cause and effect in its purest, most unadulterated form. This was the key. His first algorithm had been arrogant. It had tried to predict the storm. His new philosophy was to simply predict the rain. He realized the black swan event that destroyed him was unpredictable, but the human reaction to it was not. Fear, he now understood, was not a random variable, it was a cascade. A predictable, measurable, and beautiful fractal of human panic. He didn't need to predict the event itself. He only needed to be the first to accurately measure the shape of the fear it created. He began to rebuild his engine from scratch on a cheap second-hand laptop, not as a prediction machine, but as the world's most sophisticated emotional barometer. For months, he ran his new engine in secret, in simulation mode, using what little processing power he had. He wasn't trading, he was watching, waiting. He needed a test case, a moment of global panic to prove his new theory. The opportunity arrived in the form of a sudden, terrifying rumor of a new, aggressive computer virus, a digital plague that was supposedly about to be unleashed on the global banking system. The markets began to tremble. Pundits predicted a meltdown. Fear was in the air. As the world panicked, Leo's new engine remained calm. It ignored the noise, the headlines, the expert opinions. It was focused on one thing, measuring the fractal shape of the fear cascade. The data showed him a clear pattern. The panic was wide, but it was shallow. It was a media-driven frenzy, not a deep systemic crisis. The algorithm predicted that the fear would peak in exactly 3 hours, followed by a rapid V-shaped recovery as the rumors were debunked. And then, it did something extraordinary. It identified the single point of maximum absurdity, the one stock that was being oversold more irrationally than any other. It was a small, stable, and profoundly boring insurance company. He had no money, no fund. But he had his data. He walked into the office of the one venture capitalist who had believed in him, the one he had nearly bankrupted. He didn't ask for a second chance. He didn't apologize. He simply placed his battered laptop on the man's desk and showed him the data. He showed him the predicted peak of the panic, timed to the minute. He showed him the single, absurdly undervalued insurance stock. "The world is having a panic attack," Leo said calmly, "and it's about to end. This is the single greatest buying opportunity we will see in our lifetimes." The investor took the gamble. He staked a massive portion of his personal fortune on Leo's prediction, buying millions of shares of the boring insurance company, while the rest of the world was in a desperate selling frenzy. For 2 hours, they watched the market burn, the value of their new investment continuing to fall. It was a test of absolute nerve. Then, exactly as the Mandelbrot engine had predicted, the news broke. The digital plague was a hoax, a coordinated pump and dump scheme. The panic instantly evaporated. The recovery was not just a recovery. It was a rocket launch. The market surged back with incredible force, and the single most undervalued stock, the boring insurance company, became the single biggest gainer. In the space of one afternoon, Leo's prediction had generated a profit of over $900 million. He was no longer a ghost. He was the oracle who had calmly, perfectly predicted the end of the storm while everyone else was still running for cover. The charlatan with the chalkboard was now the undisputed king of the chaos. The story of the $900 million trade made Leo a legend. Wall Street, the same institution that had mocked and exiled him, now worshipped him as a god. The titans of finance who had laughed in his face now lined up, begging to invest in his reopened fund, Quantum Leap Capital. His Mandelbrot engine was no longer a joke. It was the holy grail. He had everything he had ever wanted: unlimited capital, total respect, and the irrefutable proof that he had been right all along. But as he stood in his new palatial office overlooking the city, he felt a strange, hollow emptiness. He realized that his victory had been incomplete. He had defeated the ignorance of Wall Street, but in doing so, he had created a new, more dangerous idol, the myth of his own infallibility. He saw that the market was now trying to predict him, to copy his moves, creating a new, more subtle form of chaos. His goal was never to be the king of the system. It was to make the system healthier, more transparent, and less susceptible to the wild swings of human panic. He had built the world's most powerful weapon. Now, he decided to give it away. In a move that shocked the entire financial world, he announced the Transparency Initiative. He made the core data from his Mandelbrot engine, the chaos temperature of the market, publicly available for free in real time. He created a simple, color-coded index from calm blue to panicked red that anyone, from a Wall Street titan to a small retail investor, could access. He was not giving them the answers. He was giving them a better way to see the questions. He was democratizing the truth, taking the power out of the hands of the few and giving it to the many. The old guard of Wall Street was furious. He had destroyed their information advantage, their alpha. They accused him of breaking the rules of the game. At a tense congressional hearing, the same legendary fund manager who had once called him a charlatan now accused him of destabilizing the market. Leo's response was simple and devastating. The market was already unstable, he said to the committee. It was unstable because it was running on rumor and fear. All I have done is turn on the lights so that everyone can see the monsters in the dark. And it's amazing how quickly monsters disappear when you turn on the lights. The Quant Index, as it came to be known, fundamentally changed the behavior of the market. Panics became shorter, less severe. Bubbles were identified earlier. The market didn't become perfect, but it became more honest. Leo's own fund, now operating with the same public information as everyone else, remained one of the most successful in the world, proving his central thesis. True advantage comes not from secret information, but from a superior interpretation of the information everyone can see. He had won the game, and then he had taught everyone else how to play it better. Years later, Leo was no longer the boy genius of Wall Street. He had become its quiet philosopher. He dedicated most of his fortune to funding education in mathematics and complex systems, searching for the next generation of minds who could see the world differently. He rarely gave interviews, but when he did, he never spoke about stocks or profits. He spoke about the beauty of patterns, about the predictability of human nature, and about the profound hidden order that governs even the most seemingly random events. His greatest legacy was not the money he made, nor the system he built. It was a single, powerful idea that chaos is not the enemy of order, but a different, more complex kind of order. He taught the world to stop looking for simple, linear answers in a complex, non-linear world. He proved that the greatest insights are found not by ignoring the noise, but by learning to listen to its hidden music, its secret repeating rhythm. Leo Quant did not tame the beast of the market. He simply learned its language. And by translating that language for the rest of the world, he gave us all a map to navigate the beautiful, terrifying, and ultimately predictable wilderness of our own collective soul.